Hey everybody, welcome back to Jon David's Journey. I'm Justin, Jon David's dad. It's Mallory, Jon David's mom, and Jon David's brother Hunter is back home. So let's get off with the really big news today. Dr. Miller, who's the attending this week, came in and woke me up this morning and said that we will not be doing a cath and that he will be going into surgery most likely next week. He does have to consult with the other teams, and so we don't know a date yet. But that is the route that it looks like we're going on. So he will have that next open heart surgery to reconstruct his ventricular septal defect, which is the wall between the two pieces of the heart. And then
also... show him the sweatshirt?
Yeah, you can show him the sweatshirt. So the septum is right here. And so basically he has a big hole right here right now. And so they're going to go back in and fix that. And then his pulmonary artery and his aorta are flip-flopped. Right now his aorta is right here and his pulmonary arteries right here. And so they're going to go in and do what is called an arterial switch and switch the arteries back to where they're actually supposed to go. So that is the surgery that he's looking at getting. And so, you know, the question that I'm sure some of y'all might have is like, how were y'all talking 2 days ago about possibly discharging this weekend? And then yesterday was cath, and then today is surgery. So he had his event last Wednesday when we discharged, and then really hadn't had any issues up until yesterday. And so he was kind of progressing on the way that they would look at vitals and signs and things like that to say, he's ready for discharge. He's looking good. So that's the conversation we were having. And then he had his DSAT event yesterday, which they were like, this makes no sense. And we were like, yep. So that's when we decided cath. But then when I asked Dr. Miller that this morning, because I asked, would a cath still be beneficial? He was saying the cath would measure the pressures and kind of the flow and things like that within the heart and give them more diagnostic information. However, with the surgery that you all just heard us explain how he's going to have it done, when they kind of get done with all of that, the pressures really won't matter, since his heart will then at that point essentially be a typical functioning heart with, you know, the arteries being where they're supposed to be and the chambers being where they're supposed to be and that septum being back like it's supposed to be there. So at that point, the pressures won't matter as much, because right now with them being switched and with the hole there, that's one of the reasons why they would want to look at the cath to see kind of how much blood is shunting off in the direction to where it needs to be going to the aorta. That becomes kind of obsolete when he has the fix on this next surgery. So he was like, yeah, it's, you know, we could do a cath, but then it really doesn't serve a benefit. And it wouldn't make sense to have him intubated and have an extra procedure done if it's not going to give us benefits from it. So that is how we have gone from talking about discharge to talking about cath to talking about surgery, and that's kind of where we are now. And we will be probably getting a date tomorrow evening. Hopefully we'll have it so we can put it on the update and everybody will know. But that is one of the things that I will definitely ask for prayers today. Like, if y'all will just pray for us, because we are excited, because it means that he is going into this final stage and having this surgery, and it being his last reconstructive surgery, at least the last reconstructive one that's planned. However, it is also incredibly stressful because, you know, it's open heart surgery on a 3-month-old. So, you know, again, just pray for him that things will go well and that they will definitely go smoother than last time. And then pray for us as we are just going to have to kind of handle the stress again of going through this. And I think it's going to be a little bit harder emotionally this time, just because as y'all have seen through the videos, he's been more interactive. And so I think it's going to be hard having him intubated and on the vent and being on the paralytic and not being able to see him or interact with him for several days. So again, just remember us in your prayers. That being said, he had a pretty good day. He was on 0.25 liters of oxygen the whole day. He stayed stable. There really weren't any changes to anything that was done with him. He got to see his Aunty Ruby, who calls him her baby. And then he also had visits from Aunty A and Papa Steve and Grammy and Pop Pop. And then Hunter spent the day at daycare with Miss Anna and with his friends, which one of the things I do want to say is that we've talked with several families today and talking about like routine and things like that. And we are very thankful that Hunter has been able to stay in some type of routine throughout all of this. Without our family and friends down where we live, that would not be possible. So thank y'all for providing him some routine through all of this by letting him stay with y'all, because he's been able to kind of stay in his routine at least somewhat, and not being completely, you know, taken away from that. And then we are also going to make shirts for this next surgery. We had talked about this prior to all of this. We were expecting this to be a month or two out. However, with it being a little more sudden, Mallory's actually working on it right now. but we are going to have the Bible verse on it of my flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever, which is Psalms 73:26. So we will have the design done by tomorrow, and we'll have that included in tomorrow's update. And then we will figure out a way, if any of y'all are interested in getting one of these shirts, of having that done logistically, of y'all being able to get one. We'll kind of research that tonight and then figure it out tomorrow and have it posted there. Again, we thought we were going to have a little more time to figure this portion out, but again, it's not a bad thing that he's going into surgery. We are excited for it. However, it is a mixed emotion because we are excited that he's going to be going into this last stage. It's also scary with him going into this last stage because of his history of how the first surgery went. So it's a mixed bag for sure. But that's all we've got for tonight. Hope y'all have a good night. God bless, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. And Jon David, tell everybody bye-bye.